Hi there, I'm John Kreitz with King Law. I wanted to talk to you today about Medicaid planning and long-term care planning. Did you know that according to the United States Department of Health and Human Services that 70% of individuals that are 65 years of age or older are going to require long-term care at some point in the future? And we wanted to address just a few points today about long-term care planning, myths surrounding long-term care, and some strategies that might be available to help protect some of your assets. There are essentially three different ways to pay for long-term care. The first is privately, out of your pocket. If you have the means to afford to do so, you can pay your long-term care out of pocket, and bear in mind the average cost of nursing home care in North Carolina is in excess of $7,000 per month. So clearly that can eat away at one's savings rather rapidly. The second way to pay for long-term care is through a long-term care insurance policy. Now, a lot of folks don't have those types of policies. They can be rather costly, but it is something worth considering if you are at an age at which you might be able to afford a long-term care policy. The third and final way to pay for long-term care is through Medicaid. And Medicaid is a government benefit that essentially is long-term care insurance for the indigent, for people who can't afford Medicaid themselves. So just want to dispel a few myths surrounding long-term care and Medicaid. The first myth is that you can't have any assets in order to be eligible for Medicaid. That's not true. You can remain eligible for Medicaid and still own your home. You can still own a vehicle. You can own some personal property. And for a single individual, you can own or have at least $2,000 in the bank. Married couples are allowed to have more than the $2,000 depending on the health of the spouse who's living at home. A second myth is that your family will simply be able to care for you, whether that's in their home or in your home, that you'll never have to go into a long-term care facility. And the statistics show that that's just not true, that it's not economically feasible for families to take care of their parents or their loved one on a prolonged basis. The third myth is that your health insurance will cover your long-term care needs. This, of course, is not true. Your health insurance is unlikely to cover a prolonged long-term care situation. Additionally, Medicare is not going to cover long-term care beyond 21 days. If it's ordered by a physician, Medicare will cover up to 21 days or between 21 to 100 days. But there are some copay requirements at that point for Medicare. In no event beyond 100 days is Medicare going to cover long-term care. The fourth and final myth is that your retirement savings will be sufficient to cover your long-term care needs. As discussed before, if you're paying in excess of $7,000 a month for the cost of your care, that is going to eat away at most people's life savings rather rapidly. And so your retirement savings may not be sufficient to cover your long-term care needs, and even to the extent it is, that's going to be that much less money that would be available to leave your family as an inheritance. So here at King Law, we have several different strategies that we employ for asset protection purposes. There are deeds, there's trusts, caregiver agreements, gift and Medicaid compliant annuity strategies, and a host of other implementation strategies that we have that we'd love to talk to you about. If you're interested in knowing more about long-term care planning and asset protection planning, please visit our website at kinglaw.com or give us a call, and we'll be happy to schedule a consultation.